Hi, Kyle here with NimbleNoggin.io, and we're back in the Swift Components Tour app, and we are ready to talk about UI text fields, the next stop in the Swift Components Tour, and the second stop in the first section called Text Components. A UI text field is sort of like a one-line editable label. So on this screen, you can see that there are two text fields, one on the top, one on the bottom, plus symbol in the center, and an animated waiting label on the top. First, I'm going to show you what this screen does, and then we're going to take a look at what's going on the storyboard, and then I'll tell you how it works with the code. It might not be completely obvious, but what you do on this screen is you type a number into the top text field, go down, select the bottom text field, type another number, and then the waiting label changes to the sum of those two numbers. Now, it's a computer, so any number is going to work. It's nothing special, but it'll work perfectly for this example. So onto the storyboard. Here you can see we have the waiting label, which I have called status label, in the class, and this is just a standard UI label as we've seen in the label stop on the Swift Components Tour. The plus symbol down here is also a UI label. All I did was I set the string to the plus addition symbol, and then I set the text color and aligned it and sized it correctly so it looked good with the rest of the content. But the important stuff here are these two text fields. The only thing different here from when you would normally drag a UI text field onto a scene in Interface Builder is that I have selected this rounded rect border style. The default is no border. And I have set the keyboard type to be number pad, which, as we saw, it doesn't affect us since we can type without the keyboard, but we can show the keyboard in the simulator by pressing Command-Shift-K, and you can toggle that on and off. And when the keyboard is showing, you can't use the physical keyboard that's hooked to your computer. So let's just hide that because it's easier to type without it, and check out the code. So first things first, what we have a reference to from that scene in the storyboard here is the status label, which said waiting and was animated, both text fields, and then a layout constraint which is attached to the bottom text field, and I'm just using that to reposition the bottom text field when the keyboard is shown. You can see that when the keyboard slides up, then the view will adjust its layout to make room for the keyboard and the rest of the content. So on Viewdidload, we're calling this method called StartAnimateLabel, and then we're adding some observers for these two keyboard notifications, which we don't have to worry about now. In StartAnimateLabel, I set the text to the first string in this array of waiting strings, and I start what is called an NS timer, which will call a method at the interval that you specify until you tell the timer to stop. So we can see here that every 1 second we are calling the selector animateLabel, which will just loop through the array of waiting strings here and set the text to the next string in the array. And if we're at the end of the array, then start over. A couple of important things to point out in this screen is that you can't actually type any letters or symbols. You can only type numbers. That's because I am limiting the input of both text fields to only the characters 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And if the inputted character is one of the characters in this NS character set that I've created here, or if the character is a backspace, which there's actually a nil replacement string up here, then we return true, which means that yes, the text field will accept the change that it is asking for. Otherwise, no, do not add any other characters. And we did this using the UITextField delegate, so that this method is called anytime that the text field is asking to change a character in its text. We have another UITextField delegate method here, and it's nothing of concern in this video. It has to do again with the keyboard. Down here on this text field did change method, I am using an IB action connected to both text fields on the editing change sent event in the storyboard. And what is happening here is we are getting the text as a number from both text fields. As long as both values from the text fields are not nil, we will stop animating the waiting label and set the status label's text to the first number plus the second number's values, so that when one of the text field's values may be a null value, then we'll just begin animating the waiting label again. I hope this serves as a decent introduction to the UITextField. Thanks for watching.